Hello, am I audible now?
Yeah, perfectly audible. Thank you for joining.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. I think I was joined from my brother's ID. Hey, Vakila. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. So, how's your weekend?
Weekend, it's going on, given that I'm gonna finish with my thesis, so it's mostly me trying to do data analysis for data that we've collected. So it's pretty much that for the weekend. Not an ideal weekend for someone who is about to wrap up with uni, but yeah, that's what we have.
Okay, perfect. What is the topic of your dissertation thesis?
We're trying to understand how AI literacy is panning out for smart parenting in terms of how much tools they are using when it comes to rear the children and what are their perspectives towards it. So it's contradictory, but we found that you don't exactly have to be AI literate to be a smart parent. That's what we've understood. Because there's no way possible we expect parents to code their own applications, but yet
Mm-hmm.
they know how to work around those things and help with their children. So we started with the hypothesis that only if you have high literacy score, you will be a smart parent, but it's the other way. We got a negative correlation. So it's
Wow,
that way.
wow. Okay, and what tools are you guys using for your thesis? Are you using any AI tools?
We are using few AI research tools. Like there's Anara. Anara is really good for research.
Mm-hmm.
That helps us with panning out multiple literature reviews that we have to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that is there. Apart from that, constantly have to do AI check and plagiarism check at the same time. So Quillbot helps a little, but that's only 15% of how much you can trust. So we further pan out and we're going to run it through Turnitin through our faculty. So
Mm-hmm.
that is another thing we're also doing. And yeah, there are a few research tools here that there's also scientific research, so we're trying to plan out that. For tools, there's SPSS, Jamovi, and the rest is SPSS syntax mostly for us.
Uh, can you just, in very brief, throw some light on SPSS and Jamovi for our viewers?
Okay, so Jamovi is basically like the most basic software research tool you can use, where you just copy paste your data on that app and select the type of analysis you want to run, and it's going to run it for you.
Okay,
It's used for analyzing your data. So that is
okay,
what is Jamovi. And SPSS is again similar type of tool, but you have two different options in that. SPSS is going to do the same thing for you, but it's a paid version. Jamovi on the other side is free for you. That's the option. SPSS is paid, 1 month is free, and then you have to pay for it. So on SPSS, you can do the same thing. And the other option is syntax, where you put in codes. That's after you get more experience with it gradually, or you can use ChatGPT to run the
mm-hmm.
syntax. That is
Okay,
something that you can always do. You can ask
mm-hmm.
ChatGPT to help you out with what codes you want to put in so that you get that type of analysis. But again, you need to have a basic experience with okay, is ChatGPT giving you the right answers, the right formulas that you want? So you need to understand all of that. And over there, you input the codes manually and then run the formulas.
Right. So where do you verify whether or not ChatGPT has given you the correct uh, code or not? Is
For
there a
that, we always have a faculty guide.
perfect,
Right
perfect, yeah.
now, because I'm a chef, I'm still dealing with data that is so genuine for the first time, I can say, firsthand, when we have data that's contradictory from what we expected, and the results are also very contradictory. It's like it's the first time that I have run all types of analysis that I could have on the data because we were overwhelmed by the results. So we are trusting our faculty guide, and everywhere we go wrong, she's telling us, okay, do this again, do this again. So that is what we're doing right now.
Right. If I had to talk about my research, I've conducted research on air pollution. So for air pollution, we took five parameters, which was CHO, CO2, NO2. So for your research, what parameters are you guys focusing on?
As I said that we just okay. So the subscales inside the scales that we have taken, right?
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Yes.
Okay. So for smart parenting, as I said, we have tools and perspectives, and each of that there are like Likert scales. So that's how we pan out. We're already taking scales that are validated, and then we run it through different types of population for the criteria that they are parents. So we have two different sections in this: smart parenting and AI literacy. Okay, so smart parenting has two subscales, and AI literacy has around four domains. And in those 4 domains, there are 7 different subscales.
Okay.
So in total, it's like an in-depth research, and all those 4 domains are panning out on, can you create AI? What is the frequency of the AI that you're using? Okay. And again, it's also going to pan out on how much of the AI are you already using? Okay. So all of those things pan out. Again, it's a validated scale, but we found it that it needs more of psychometric properties for it to be considered, because there are few parametric and few non-parametric subscales and questions within that. There is no normality within the questions that the questionnaire has. So that is one thing that we also found.
On a lighter note, I still have a question. I was going through your LinkedIn. Why did you go to Tokyo after HPAIR? I mean,
Okay.
Boston was just it, and I was just very satisfied after Boston. I did not plan to go to Tokyo. Why was it? Like,
Okay.
what are the reason?
The first reason that I went was everyone told me that Aconf was better than HConf, given
Mm-hmm.
that it panned out for 5 days, and there were things that you would get to do more as compared to Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was one thing. It's like I've never been there. I shouldn't judge on the basis of first thing. Okay, and on top of that, I come from a healthcare perspective. So global impact challenge was a major letdown for me at its best, because it was all about finance. And coming from a healthcare background, I was like, what am I supposed to do? I'm not
Mm-hmm.
the best at this challenge given to me. So when I went for Econ, it's one of the best experiences. I'm not gonna lie. It's one of the best. I made the best decision, and I went there with my brother. So
Mm-hmm.
I signed him up for it, and we both went together. The reason I went was, in the future I plan to get into research,
Mm-hmm.
and Japan is one of the best places to do research, given that the demographic that it deals with is the one that will help you predict future to your research. So
Okay.
I was like, it's two things at the same time, and I went there, and it's beautiful. That's all I'm gonna say. And the Global Impact Challenge, I was lucky enough to be one of the people who won it, as compared to how it was a blunder the first time at HConf.
Okay.
So it was thing, and they asked us to apply the concepts of behavioral psychology and
Mm-hmm.
make a model that will work out for them, that is more sustainable, and it has more value. Okay, not only monetary value but also more cultural value. And that was for an initiative for Not on Map. So Not on Map is one of very good ecotourism platforms,
Okay.
and through that we just got to know, and we won, and that was like one of the best experience. I'm still connected to the team members, so
Okay.
I can definitely say it panned out really well. And they also had something that they just started for Econa, who was called lead delegate, like delegate simulation.
Okay.
And that is where they just threw us into a forum where we had to discuss about existing challenges that were happening based on the demographic decline for Japan. Now, that is when I had absolute fun, because you're telling me to think about the perspectives, to think about everything that's going wrong, to think about the current situation, because Japan is a place where people dying from overwork. That is an
Mm.
actual
Mm.
concept. Karoshi is an actual thing that happens over there. There are students who are dying, and there are people in preschool also who are dealing with something called depression, which is a very heavy word to put into. It's a very heavy thing. So I had absolute fun. And I again applied to try to be a lead delegate at that point of time. And my faculty guide, who is my faculty guide for now, Dr. Juliana Joseph Ma'am, she helped me analyze every single form of data that I could have for a country I've never been to. So
Okay.
Econ was absolute worth it for me. I can say it was like it made up for everything that I could not do in HConf, in Econ.
Did you get any leads or collaborations got done when you went for Acon?
I can say no. Okay, that is one thing from my personal experience. Maybe I did not reach out as much as I should have. That's one thing that could have been, because I have been busy with my dissertation as well, and I felt like I should focus here more. But I did try to reach out on the person who was for the Global Impact Challenge. Unfortunately, I did not get a reply back. So
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
is where we tried text, and I don't know how to reach out more than sending a LinkedIn message. The most we can do is drop an email together as a team, because he said that he's gonna fund the project and help us work on it. but
Mm-hmm.
we don't really know where that's going on. Okay, after we did try to reach him about that. So it was the very same day. We have pictures. He has posted about us on his LinkedIn as well, but
Okay.
there's no reply back about that yet. That's my perspective on it. That's one thing.
Uh, right, right. Coming to psychology, what is the spoon theory all about? You mentioned spoon theory in your LinkedIn. I
Uh,
read it, but I couldn't get a glimpse about it.
yeah, yeah. I think I'll have to reread the spoon theory I posted on LinkedIn because it's been way too long since I've posted it. If we
All
could
right.
read like a line or two, I think it's gonna click in again. There's so many things. Could you just like I haven't updated it in a while, so
Not a problem, not a problem. You've lived in two uh, metro cities. One is Bombay and the other one is Bengaluru.
yeah.
How are the lives different in both cities? Do you feel any difference?
I do, but it is again like a personal opinion. But I want to go back to Mumbai instead
Mm-hmm.
of stay back in Bangalore because it can be because of the placement concerns that I have given my field. That's one thing. When it comes to psychology, as a fresher, if the max that you're getting paid is 25. Okay, when you're just starting after your masters. Now, for someone who is away from the family and has to PG in Bangalore and run with 25K, that's something that's like impossible. I always the rent and the lifestyle over here is comparatively more high. I can say that for me because I live in Mumbai. So it's going to be quite expensive for me to live here in Bangalore and for a job that pays me 25,000. Because honestly, if you're smart enough, 25K is something you can work through part time. That's all I'm going to say. So that is
Okay.
the amount of money that I have made more than that in a month by just doing freelance, like side quests. That's how the Gen Z puts that. Side
Yeah.
quests sitting and what I've done is I've used my skill. I've taken classes on neuroscience, brain mapping, advanced clinical psychology, everything. So that is something I'm doing, working 2 hours a day and earning the same amount that I could have 9 to 5. So I would rather go back to Mumbai, live with my parents, do an internship for 6 months, and then apply for my PhD. So maybe taking a break after your master's, if you're not getting the placement that you want and you feel like you deserve, maybe that 6 months is the best thing you can do and run all those side quests to reach to the point where you actually get an offer you want and you feel like you deserve. That is my opinion.
Perfect. And to pursue a field like yours, which is BSc psychology, if I'm not wrong, right? You pursued
I
BSc
am
psychology and you're a master student
No,
now.
I did BA psychology, sociology, and
Mm-hmm.
then I did MSc clinical psychology, and I am applying for a PhD in cognitive neuroscience now because I want to study social cognition.
Okay. So is taking bio group mandatory if you want to get into BA psychology, or do math group people or people from commerce and
No,
arts apply to BA psychology? No.
no, not at all. But if you want to take psychology, you need to have your majors as psychology in your bachelor's, be it BA or BSc.
Perfect. And what are the different types of psychology? Like you're studying clinical psychology. What are the other types?
Oh my God. There's clinical, there's forensic, there's criminal psychology, there's social
Hmm.
psychology, which I said, and there's political psychology.
Okay.
There's industrial organizational psychology. There are like
Mm-hmm.
many fields. It is divided into pure and applied, basically.
Okay.
So these two fields, and there are different sectors of psychology in it. Okay. And clinical falls more under applied psychology. It's not a pure form. And that is where we're like divided into it. And there are many forms of it. And I think that if you are someone who you need to find your calling when it comes to psychology, you need to understand what is one thing that you want to study. Is it the feelings and emotions and the brain and the therapy and everything that you want to deal with in the hospital sectors? Then clinical is it for you. And if you want to do internship, do it in psychiatry clinics. Don't do it in normal private clinics. Do it in psychiatry clinics because you'll understand the concepts that work in real life only when you do that. Because I've still had batchmates who have interned at marriage clinics, marriage counselors, and they feel like ECTs are not something ethical. Contrary, ECTs are first line treatment for active suicidal ideation. If no,
Okay. What?
ECTs are shock therapy,
Okay.
electroconvulsive therapy. Okay,
Right, right, right.
so yeah, so they felt like that's not ethical, and they are someone who are students of masters. So if we ourselves, as
Mm-hmm.
imagine a psychologist saying to their clients that, oh, we've had the psychiatrists tell us this, that when their clients go to psychologists and they tell them, oh, ECT is not needed, why do you want to take shock and everything? As students, as someone who's a psychologist, we need to understand that that is a form of ethical treatment that is given an extreme amount of crisis. So that is first line. So we need to do internships at psychiatric clinics. That's something that
Mm-hmm.
I want to say from clinical psychology perspective. And the best that you want to do when you're confused, that should I do an MBA or should I pursue something that's psychology? Take up industrial organization, because you're going to do amazing when it comes to that. That is a field that is, you might feel like, okay, that's corporate job, that's going to be HR, but no, there is so much more that you can do. And with everyone understanding the importance of mental health, especially, which was a stigma, but now corporates are paying more and more attention to it. The ones who are like, let's say, at a good pace, at a place where they can put in money for their employees, they are going to hire you. They are going to hire you for workshops, and that is the point where you can charge them money.
Right.
So that is a blooming field that you can delve into. For those who are confused about where they are in psychology, what is the future for them? But future is bleak in India. You'll have to network as much as you can. If you can save up, take an education loan, pursue your masters in a country where you feel like you want to work in, do
Mm-hmm.
not pursue it here in India if your goal is to go out.
Okay.
That is a mistake that I can say I made, given that I had 3 years of BA Psych Social. So I
Mm-hmm.
had to do masters here so that I can pursue further there. But if your goal is to not work in India, do your masters from the country where you want to work in. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay. And why did you choose JGI as an institution? Aren't there any other colleges in India
Uh,
that offer this course?
there's a funny story behind that. There are many colleges who offer this course. This is one of
Mm-hmm.
the best to go for. And I got into MITI by that's for industrial organizational. Funny story, I did not know that I was giving entrance and interview for a course that was for industrial organization. I was sitting in the interview, I crossed the entrance and I was sitting in the interview room and I realized that everyone is revising like revising the concepts for industrial psychology. And I'm over here reading, okay, how many amounts of dosage for, let's say, an SSRI is going to pan up. And I'm like, oh my God, people are studying different stuff over here. And I'm like, excuse me, may I know what this course is for? I'm doing this 5 minutes before I'm supposed to step in for an interview. And that's when I
Mm-hmm.
realized this provides only industrial organizational. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm sitting for the interview and they ask us that why do you choose this course? I'm like, that's my plan C. If nothing works out, this is my plan C, and that's how I'm going to plan it out. And funny thing, I got it. Being honest in an interview is something that got me in, and that was like it had a good cutoff. And there were only 60 placements that they had, and there were around, if I'm not wrong, 300, 400. For the entrance, there were around 1,000. There were
Mm-hmm.
many students. Matiba is a good college in Mumbai to go
Yeah, yeah,
for.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Got in the first list, and me and my parents are like, why, how? I think everything you said was you not wanting to be there for the course. So be honest in your interviews. That's
Okay.
one thing. If you're confused, that's one thing I've understood over the course. And
Okay.
I did not apply for any. This is a mistake. I did not apply for the CUET in my last year of bachelor's, given that I wanted to score more in my last semester, and I was again doing my side quests. So I was
Mm.
doing my speech pathology classes everywhere, where I was helping kids with ADHD, ASD, improve on their speech specter of their let's say condition that they have. Okay, so that is where I was working with the clients. I had around 10 to 12 at that point of time. So I had no time except my studies and those classes. So I could not apply for the entrance. So that is why the only options were Mitibai. I thought, okay, I'll apply for Mitibai. They have their entrance. And there was NMIS, but they had applied psychology again.
Okay.
So my mom, 2 days before JGI was closing down, my mom was like, just apply here, and they're like, you have good merit, you can just get in. You
Mm-hmm.
need to give an interview or something like that. So I gave interview, and there was a faculty of neuropsychology who took my interview, and I'm like, okay, all the entrance stuff that I studied for an industrial course is gonna help me to crack the interview for this course at least.
Perfect. Perfect.
So
Yeah.
that's how it panned out, and I got into JTI. Not the best. So definitely not the best from what I've understood. The course credits they provide on page, very good.
Mm-hmm.
But do they apply it? No. Honestly, no.
Not a problem. So, what does a normal day look like for you in JGI? What is the fee structure and what is the exam pattern like? How often do they take exams and what is the credit? What are the amounts of credits they allot to each subject? Can you just throw some light on that?
Okay, I can definitely do that for you. So, if I'm one good thing is that you can pay in EMI basis for someone
Okay.
who cannot pay a full shot payment. You can do that. They provide you hostels with EMI as well, but don't do hostels with them. Just do a PG. You can pay the same amount and earn it. Okay, so if I'm 1,75,000, that's the overall course fee. You can pay that in like EMI installments for around 9 months. That is
Is it
what I
interest
offer.
based? Is it
No,
interest based?
no interest, zero interest, completely zero interest.
Mm-hmm.
And they have tie-ups with the people where you can do it with, so that's not a problem at all.
Okay. And yeah, talking of the course structure, what does the course structure look like?
Course structure is beautiful actually. So in the 4 semesters that you have, if someone who's forgotten your bachelor's, in the first semester they're going to revise everything.
Okay.
So that's going to be that you're going to do your social psychology, you're going to do neuroanatomy. That is when I understood I want to do neuroscience. It was in my master's in my first semester. You'll have neuroanatomy, also going to have lifespan development. So all of this is going to be there. Course credits are going to vary between 5, 4, all of that. Depends on the difficulty of the course, they're going to assign the course credits for you. So that is how it's going to pan out. And there's something that they have as open electives that's compulsory for you for the first 3 semesters out of the four. First 3 semesters, you have open electives where you have to choose anything which is maybe not related to your field. It can be marketing, it can be sports psychology, it can be IoT in healthcare. So I
Okay.
came up with and where I had to like browse of some product if I had IoT in healthcare. So I had to think of an IoT product, and I presented my concept idea at a conference. And
Mm-hmm.
that person was in the AI field, so they really liked that idea. It was about neurosync, how XR is panning out in the field of healthcare. So that is something that was interesting that I learned in a clinical psychology course. I don't think there are many colleges that are going to help you understand all of that in a course
Mm-hmm.
that's like clinical psychology. So that
Okay.
is something that I understood as well. But again, as a
Mm-hmm.
student, you have to take the initiative to put all in when it comes to a course which is not related to your field. Because there are many students who are like, why should I do this? It's like not going to help me out in the field. And you doing it is going to make you stand out from the rest in the lot. So just do
Yeah.
it because you're getting to do it. So that is that. You also have sustainable, I think, environment, sustainable entrepreneurship. So you also
Mm-hmm.
have that as one of the course related to it. So these are some open electives that is across entirety of the gen. So be it any course, my brother is doing engineering course. He's doing BTech in ME, mechatronics. So he also has open electives. So be it any course you take in Jain University, they will allow you to do an open elective. And there's also something called TDPCL for us. That is also a graded course for 100 marks. TDPCL is something that I present in my last semester. It's a transdisciplinary project-centric learning, where you will be mixed up with groups of different sectors of different courses, and you have to come up with a project idea.
Hmm.
So that project has to be novel. It has to have high sustainability value. It should have more novelty that there cannot be any plagiarism. So though there are many students who end up taking research as part of it, it cannot be something that is very basic. It has to be something that's different. Try to do something. Just don't try to understand anxiety among students. Try to do
Okay.
more with anxiety, something like that. So we are working on an NGO program that's called Shikshan. So it's about providing cognitive brain gym workouts and also providing nutritional awareness at the same time
Okay.
through workshops through underprivileged children, basically.
Okay. Perfect. What are the uh I mean, how frequent are the exams in JGI?
That was we have exams on a roll once they start. So you're gonna have internals that's divided into MCQs for 10 marks. You're gonna have a midterm that's for 10 marks. You're gonna have NSET.
Okay. That's it.
Of the 50 is the final exams that you
Okay.
have. So the 50 are your internals and the 50 are your externals. So 50
Mm-hmm.
is like one shot that you give your paper for, and the rest internals are divided into segments like that.
Right. Uh, can you just talk about the current trend of psychology in India? What is the market? I mean, what does it look like? Is it on a growth scale? Is it stagnant? Or is it seeing a downfall? What is it like?
Mm, it's pretty, for the next 2, 3 years, I feel like it's pretty stagnant given that it is not being able to accommodate the amount of students who are getting into this field. So when it comes to the concept of seeing your future in India, they are very susceptible to let you come as an intern. Like you have to pay for your internships. You be it anything, you have to pay to intern over here. I got lucky enough to find an organization through my network. Don't underestimate your parents. That's one thing. You might feel like I don't want to ask my parents. Ask them. You never know. They've lived twice your age. They definitely have
Right.
someone in the network who can help you out. So my parents reached out to someone. I had to talk to them based on my CV. I've gotten it, but I have used my network, my parents' network, to find an internship that I did not pay for.
Mm-hmm.
So apart from that, the same network, they told me in Ahmedabad, if you
Mm-hmm.
want to do an internship, you have to pay. Base price for this internship, 15,000.
15,000 for a month.
15,000. We're talking around 2 months. 2 months, 15,000 is something that you have to pay for to
Mm-hmm.
intern at their place. Now, this is the harsh reality of psychology. It's not only Ahmedabad, it's even in Bangalore, even at Nimhans, you will have to pay. And you will have to pay and wait. But is the quality of internship at Nimhans good? It's one of the best.
What is
The amount of
Nimhans?
NIMHANS is the mental health institute in over here in Bangalore. The one that provides RCI license, not for internship, but if you do a course over there. If
I
you
think
you
it's
can
one of
also
the
pursue
best institutions for neuroscience.
not only neuroscience, I can also put it as clinical psychology. So
Mm-hmm.
NIMHANS, one of the best. For MPhil, there are many students who are trying to apply for MPhil at NIMHANS. When it
Mm-hmm.
comes to neuroscience, I think you're talking about neuroscience research. When it comes to that, NIMHANS is a good place where a lot of research is being done. So
Mm-hmm.
that is where many students go there. For my personal reason that I did not apply to NIMHANS is that I'm more comfortable in Mumbai. That gives me flexibility to speak in the language that I have, because the field that I come from, I need to understand. I need to have a rapport with the people. It is really more comfortable for me back in Mumbai because I can speak the language. I can understand the culture more back
Mhm.
in Mumbai. That's a point of psychology. Do it from a place that you want to work in because you need to understand the culture of the place you're living in. If you don't understand the culture, there's going to be a difference between you and your clientele. And that is going to create a void. They won't have trust in you. They feel like you're judging them. And the point that they don't, it's like, you don't understand. You won't understand this. I'm like, entire point
Mm.
of the therapy session is for us to understand you and try to help you out. So if that does not work out, so that's one thing. So it's very important you choose the place very, very sure of that you want to be here. So that's one thing. So Nimhans is also a good place. And
Mhm.
as I said, it's stagnant. Again, it's gonna vary as compared to who said I said internships are paid. On top of that, the placements that you get are around 25,000 starting price. So
Mhm.
starting salary, if I had to say. And most of the time you'll get observership. It's very difficult. And one of the person that we had in our placement cell actually said that psychology is a calling. You cannot charge for it. Now, I have a question like, what is the fine line between you being a psychologist or and you just being there and actually actually a scam? I'm actually gonna say this. What like RCI license is something that is um you know it's quite a lot of controversial. That's
Okay.
a very honest. I think if you're putting this out somewhere,
You might get into
there is
trouble.
yeah, I think I'm gonna get into trouble. But I'm like, hey, here's the truth. Okay, for someone who's not working for an RTL license, because I have a lot of respect for it. To
Mhm.
get it, you have to work hard for it. But there are people who have paved their way to get that easily.
Okay.
There are people in the field. So that
Mhm.
is why we are working on psyching to find the people who are with RCI license and to find the people to get on the app who are with RCI license is very difficult. Because trust me, they have worked equally hard as someone who is out there as a licensed doctor. Because they are there with a lot of respect for the field and with a lot of work towards their field. And it's like they're working with ambiguity to get that license at the same time. And बहुत difficult होता है to get that. You need a lot of dedication. But there are
Right.
people who have just paid their way to get
Mhm.
that license as well. So you
Okay.
need to find that authenticity gap is there in our field. That is very, very true about it.
Mhm.
So sometimes you feel like ये क्या ही हो रहा है? When you go to some therapy session and you stand there and think ये क्या ही हो रहा है? Like what is this actually? And that is when you understand that okay,
Mhm.
something over here is like
Fishy.
fishy.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's what I put it as. So that this is there. This is there in our field, and you will have to find your way out for this. If you are working towards something, तो ये clinical psychology में तो है. I'm not sure about IO. Industrial organization has a completely different path. This is the situation for clinical psychology. So I'll put it as stagnant, and it will go uphill for you if you find your way out. If you use
Okay.
your network, if you find what's real, what's not real, if you find who you want to be in this field and who you want to work with, that is when you're going uphill. And that is when you're going to start making money. That's always going to stay uphill. But if you are in a situation where you're like, I'll do what you tell me to do, okay, I'll work as a puppet and I'm just going to stay the way, I'm going to work with the crowd, okay, then you are going to be stagnant. Okay, and that's going to just go down. So it depends on how you work in this field, and that's going to decide you're going up or down or staying just the way you are. You can be on 25,000 for 5, 7 years because that is something that you're happy with, your choice.
Mhm.
Definitely your choice.
Okay.
That 25 going to 30, that's your goal in life. You're like satisfied with it. So it
Right.
depends on what you want to be.
We've still got a lot of points to cover, and the Zoom call might end in 5 minutes. So I'll be sending a new link again to you after 10 minutes because that's a roadblock in Zoom. Like you cannot
Okay,
host a
yeah,
meeting. So
yeah,
you can take
yeah.
a 10-minute break and then we can join back again, right? One
Okay,
more
first.
question is, yeah, so one more question is, are there any nurses like for people who are surgeons, they've got nurses. For clinical psychologists, what are their assistants called?
Assistant psychologist.
Okay, and
Psychologist.
again, what are their credentials like? Are they BA? Have they
The
done their
same.
graduation?
You become a senior psychologist with experience working at the same place, and when you're a fresher, you will start as an intern as a fresher, and you'll go to assistant, and then become a senior psychologist again. So that is how it pans out.
Right. For engineers, we've got an institution based out of Calcutta, which is Institution of Engineers India, which is called IEI. So for in your psychological field, what is it like? Are there any bodies that govern psychological institutions in India? What are they like?
So as I said, RCI, right? So
Hmm.
RCI is there. That's very important to get your license by. And there are not many universities that provide you RCI license. NIMHANS is one of them, and there are other few as well. So I'll
Mm-hmm.
have to go through them and then get back to you. Because personally, I'm not looking into RCI because I don't want to work in India. So that is important for you as well. And when you pan out of India, you're focusing on the APA. If you go into
Okay.
US, you have
What is APA?
APA, American
Okay.
Psychological Association. They are the
Mm-hmm.
one who has made the DSM. The DSMs, if I had to say, the revisions that they keep on making, we are on DSM 5TR right now. So that is basically a Bible for diagnosis of the mental health disorders. Okay, that
Okay.
is one. There is World Health Organization that governs your ICD.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that is classification of your disorders that is given by WHO. So these are the bodies that govern the diagnostic labels that we have to do and the understanding for anything that we have. So these are a
Right.
few bodies, but WHO, APA for India, there's RCI. So these are few. We also have code of conduct that
Uh-huh.
also goes by APA.
And what programs do these bodies conduct? Like, do they have camps, conferences? What all do they conduct?
Mm, you can apply, you can look if they have something going on their websites, because colleges are not going to take the initiative. You will have to go and do that research by yourself.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and apart from RCI license, what other licenses are there in the field of
You
psychology?
can take, yeah, you can take different licenses for conducting therapies. So if you want to be a CBT specialist, CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy. That
Mhm.
is very primary, be it any core, for the most of the courses of disorders that we look at. CBT
Mhm.
is a very important framework that is put in your interventions. So you can be a
Okay.
CBT specialist. You have to have psychology. Plus, you can do a course, and I'm sorry for that. You can take license for doing CBT. You'll be a CBT specialist. And again, if it's family therapy, you can do a course and be a specialist in family therapy. So it pans out like that. You can choose a therapy and specialize in that, and then you can conduct this as well.
Perfect.